Thank you. So everything I wanted to talk about is being talked about this morning. It's so exciting. So the question that I have is, I have a long-term vision of what I am creating, but I get sidestepped on a daily basis with the short-term. I don't really feel like doing this particular step right now. I don't really feel like doing this particular thing today. On multiple subjects.
Is that a bad thing or a good thing?
Well, I want to be really sleek and toned and in shape, but I just seem to never feel like working out today, and it's always today. Or I want this one particular company to build it to a $100 million company, but I don't ever feel like doing the email marketing campaign today, and it's always today. So I just have been a little bit stuck in that.
But the question that we have is, what do you feel like doing? Are you feeling like doing something?
So it varies. So some days, yes, and I'm living a really good life, but some days, no, I don't feel like doing anything.
We've been saying a lot recently. Mm-hmm. The last several gatherings, we've been really emphasizing that we would encourage that everyone do 30% less, 40% less. We've been encouraging that people do 50% less, 60%. We've been encouraging that people do about 70% less, 75% less of what they have been doing. Yeah. And more contemplating, more visualizing, more taking pleasure from life, more vibrational work, less action work. And so that's part of what's happening to you, is that you're beginning to understand where your true leverage is. Mm-hmm. And it's a hard adjustment, because you know from past experience, from watching yourself and watching others, that when you really apply yourself, that you can make some things happen. Mm-hmm. But when you're talking about things of this magnitude, when you're talking about that sort of leverage, now you've got to tap into a vibrational leverage. Some years ago, Jerry read a book, many, many, many years ago. Alan Laken had written it, and it was a self-help book, and it was called How to Get Control of Your Time in Life. And the only thing that Jerry recalled from the book that he then talked to Esther about was a process called the Swiss cheese process. And what the basis of it was that there are some things that you can accomplish very quickly. It only takes a minute or 10 minutes or maybe even an hour. So if it's on your list today, you can get it done if you apply yourself. You can use things like willpower and diligence and determination to make yourself do those things. And you can get a reasonable number of those done. But there are those larger things like writing a book or getting yourself in shape or creating a financial empire, or even doing your income taxes, or cleaning out your garage. In other words, those things that you're not going to do in an hour, that would take maybe more than a day or maybe more than a week. And so those are the things that you tend to not apply yourself at. You procrastinate. You don't make any effort. And so he suggested that you take those big things and you break them down into smaller things. So Esther takes a big piece of paper and she puts holes all over it, making it look like Swiss cheese, and then writes all of the different aspects of everything about this project. What's it going to take to do all of this? And then when she looks at it, she just picks one of those and asks herself if she feels like doing it. And something that she has discovered is that she often does feel like doing it. She often feels like doing it because the overwhelmment factor isn't there, and the rational factor that says, I'm not going to be able to begin to accomplish this all right now. You kept saying, right now, right here, right now, right here, right now. But a piece of it may be. But here's the thing. This is the piece that we want to put into this. Is there anything on this Swiss cheese list that I want to do right now? Not that I need to do right now. Is there any piece of this that I'm called to? And what Esther's discovered is, yeah, she keeps feeling called to that and called to that. And sometimes she'll sit and she'll complete 3 or 4 things in one day as she's moving about, because she wants to do it, not because she needs to do it. And that really is the key. It's another way to overcome resistance. It's sort of like the placemat process that we talked about before, where in a feeling of overwhelmment, delegating it to the universe. Don't assign it to yourself. So did anything shift in that conversation?
It did. It did, just the feeling of, because everything that I feel like I must do next for this one particular company, Lesson Stop is, I don't want to do. But I'm certain that if I lay it out in a map, the way that you suggested, there will be things.
So what's this conversation saying? Always follow your path of least resistance. Let's take this further. We've not had this conversation before with anyone. Let's take this further. Why take the path of least resistance? Because it's the only choice you have. And here's the big piece. Your inner being knows what is the path of least resistance. So you've got to give yourself permission to take that path of least resistance. And most of you don't want to do that because then you define yourself as lazy or inappropriate or unfocused or unwilling, and that's just not the case. Let's say it in this way. Path of least resistance is the way the entire universe operates. Path of least resistance is the only way that things operate in a natural way. Path of least resistance is the only way, the only sustainable way for energy to flow. Path of least resistance is a good thing because path of least resistance and path of most allowance are the same thing. Path of least resistance is a good thing. So am I inappropriate that I don't feel like doing all of those things? Certainly not. There's resistance that's keeping me from wanting to do them. And so it's releasing that resistance that is necessary right now. You're going to have fun with that. You think we got to the bottom of it?
Of that, yes.